Welcome to the Bold and Wider podcast, where we never stop growing. I'm your co-host, Peter Wong.
And I'm Michelle Kramer.
Today, we are joined by Dawn Pinaud, first employee under Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. Dawn is a coffeepreneur. She was the first employee at Starbucks, and she's an innovative, seasoned retail coffee operations expert with experience in global market expansion, brand development, and retail operations. Dawn's currently winding down her consulting business and going back to her roots, opening up her own coffee shop on an island. Dawn, where's the island?
Just outside of Seattle on Whidbey Island.
Dawn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Dawn, Starbucks has been in the news a lot recently. Howard Schultz wrote on LinkedIn about how important culture is to the core of Starbucks. You were the first employee there, building the first store and helping its expansion. What is your take on the situation?
I was the first employee of the new Starbucks because the original Starbucks started in 1971. And Jerry Baldwin, Gordon Bowker, and Zev Siegel started the company as a coffee bean store. It was more like walking into a wine store. You couldn't get a cup of coffee if you wanted. We had it in the back room, but we didn't even sample it. We just talked about it like you would fine wines. And Howard Schultz came in 82. I came in 83. Howard went to Italy on a buying trip for home espresso machine. It was the first time he saw the culture of the coffee business, really, where it was cafes and people were socializing. And he ended up coining the term, the third place. I came into the retail side of it before beverage. After he returned to Italy, he convinced Jerry, the founder of the company, to open a beverage store in downtown Seattle. I was the lucky one that got to open that first beverage store. Howard wanted to open more beverage stores with a focus on beverage and being still available, but major focus on coffee by the cup. Howard Schultz, years ago, after he left and he opened this company called Il Giornale, the beverage company that you see today. We used Starbucks. They roasted the coffee for us, sat on the board of directors, helped us strategically. And Il Giornale was this stand-up coffee bar in Seattle. Then we opened stores in Vancouver, just as I was getting ready to move to Chicago and open the Chicago region. Howard said, guess what? We're going to buy Starbucks, merge Il Giornale and Starbucks. These guys are going to San Francisco, buying Peet's Coffee. Jerry went to San Francisco. My job was to open new regions, set up everything, and hire the people, set it up operationally, and make money. We changed the name to Starbucks from Il Giornale, and that was the beginning. After that, I was there for 2 years, opened 25 stores, quickly, without a lot of help. Very slim budget. Do it all yourself, which is probably the best education you could ever have. I never even graduated from college. 2 years, that was it. I was done with it. And I just went through the road of hard knocks. But it was really good learning. What did we know about opening a coffee concept or a chain? We didn't know anything about. We knew about these few little stores in Seattle. That was it. Howard came from sales. So we learned along the way and then did really well. And just as I was going to go and open LA, Howard opened LA. What's going on there? Where are the people? I don't see them walking around. I'm like, they're in their cars. We're going to make more money here than we've ever made. I'm from LA, so I'm a big fan of California business. In this case, I knew they'd come out of curiosity. Like,
Is that where the drive-through concept came around?
no drive-throughs.
No drive-through.
I'm
Just drive-through.
like combination with beans and beverage, but real focus on beverage.
And
You go back to the beginning. When we opened that first test beverage store, we had one size cup, no fancy lid. It was foam, wasn't environmentally good at all. There were syrups that didn't exist. And it was just one traditional coffee drinks, cappuccino, espresso, latte, one size. Not exciting. But we honed our skills at making Italian-style coffee that was delicious. So when Howard went, he'd come in on Monday morning and go, I think we should do Mocha Monday, because no one knew what a mocha didn't exist. There's no such thing as a mocha. Let's put a shot of espresso in hot chocolate. Call it a mocha. Mocha is an old city port in Yemen. That's where that came from.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Yeah.
Dawn, out of this amazing learning that you had as the first employee under Howard, what did you learn that influences how you think about Starbucks today and where they are?
That really came up in my mind when I read that post from Howard Schultz on LinkedIn, because I went, wait a minute. And I actually replied, because I'm like, the last couple of years with the whole union coming in and all of this, I'm like, I don't even go there anymore unless I'm getting cold brew, because it's just not the same. Something's missing. There's a focus on speed to the point where baristas are afraid to talk to you. And for me, it's about the district managers aren't behind the bar. You never see any management behind the bar. For me, the bar is a barrier to people. Even today, when I'm consulting, the first thing I do is get behind the bar. I'm like, can I go make coffee? And they're like, yeah. They're like, why do you want to go make coffee? You'll see. I get behind the bar. It's not about the client, really. It's about the experience of the team. I get back there and start, can I make a cup of coffee? What's going on here? How are you guys doing? In a half an hour, they tell me everything. They tell me everything that works and doesn't work. And so for me, district managers and senior people aren't having the experience that the barista's having.
Mhm.
They're hearing about it when they're getting yelled at by the team. We want more money. We want this. We want that. Their job is to go back and fight with Howard and the management team at corporate to get what they want. I used to get in these big and yelling matches with Howard all the time. People would say, are you afraid you're going to get fired or something? He's not firing. He wants to debate. If I'm good at it, I'll get what I want. If I'm not, I lose. And so as a manager, part of it is to be able to work with my district manager to communicate what my needs are and how we can improve. I'm building a culture by being with them on the field, basically.
So today you don't see that when you go to Starbucks. You don't see the man.
Never. I haven't seen that in years. And I'm like, that is what's missing. And you know what's interesting? When Howard, every time he comes back, the first thing he does, I hear it from people, the first thing he does is goes to the store and spend hours with baristas, just talking, not with the manager, with baristas. What's going on? What's wrong? What can I do to fix it? And giving them an open door.
Mm-hmm.
And that is huge, in my opinion. But that's lost right now. And the coffee, the comment that we were hearing online is the coffee tastes awful. One right after the other. Now, I think the reason that is because the coffee is in a flavor lock bag. It's a special valve, a one-way valve that lets gases out and doesn't let air in. It protects the beans. But now they're stretching it to 9 months or more. That coffee's not going to be good past 2 or 3 months.
Because the beans are no longer fresh.
They start deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep them alive.
What's the motivation for stretching?
The reason they're doing that, if you open roasteries all over the country, we're going to spend millions of dollars. Money. There's not that many roasters. Start considering their volume. There's not that many roasters. What do they have? 2 in the U.S., 1 in Amsterdam. I think there might be 1 in Japan. I don't know. But it's like, considering the volume, millions of pounds that they're roasting every year. We used to get coffee 3 times a week, fresh roasted. They answer the phone, Starbucks, fresh roasted coffee. It's not fresh roasted anymore. Sorry, guys. And that's part of it. I describe it like sliced bread versus a fresh baguette. One is very aromatic, and sliced bread is just okay. It's bread. I better toast it and put stuff on it, because otherwise it doesn't taste that great.
In Howard's post, he talks about it is more about being experiential and not transactional. And that's happening to Starbucks, but also happening to a lot of businesses as they scale up. How do you keep that culture as you scale up?
You have to look at what is the staff complaining about first. First, it was about they weren't making enough money. And then they hear about executives with these packages that are outrageous and they're not getting the money. So that's one reason they go to the union. They're not being heard, not being paid. And the other thing, what's going on the experience in the store? There's so many of these complicated drinks that baristas have to make. They are very stressed because Mr. Customer is standing there wanting their drink in seconds, and you're having to make this and this cafe I'm opening on Whidbey Island outside of Seattle. No, I'm not doing any of it. I'm going back to basics. What's going to happen? The customer's going to get mad. They're going to drink it. There'll be like 3 flavors. That's it. None of this every flavor under the sun business.
I love this idea that it's so popular to have a customer-centric mission. And I've worked in a number of companies that have had that kind of mission, Salesforce and others, where it's like the customer is at the heart of everything. Amazon is famous for this and the empty chair of the customer. But I love the fact that you're saying, if you want to be in service of the customer, ultimately you need to be in service of your team and really deeply understand what they are asking about. I'm wondering your perspective on how much of this could actually be solved in non-financial ways. And what do you think those district managers could have done that would have created a culture of satisfaction, putting the money piece aside?
I go back in time, and then I just worked for a guy named Jeff Sinelli at Which Sandwiches and Pachuco Gelato. He had these 2 companies. We were creating a brand of coffee for a coffee concept for him. And then the pandemic hit and the whole thing fell apart. What was fun about that company, fun has to be in there. Okay, so he had like over 300 stores, which that's a lot of stores. And he still somehow managed to have parties, picnics, games. It was hysterical. At first I thought, lame. But then I'm like, this is actually funny. The franchisees, which you could do with the manager, would come in. And remember that show, Minute to Win It? A British voice, and they played all these games. You had a minute to complete a task. And so he created all these games, and the corporate staff would come in and sit in our chairs, and the new franchisees would come in and they'd have to play these games, and they'd get flag when they won or something. But it was really a bonding thing. And I'm like, there's just not enough fun. Like, where's fun?
I can totally relate to that. And I remember right out of college, I was working at a consulting firm. We were working around the clock for this company in the middle of nowhere, away from our friends and family. And one night, my project manager had created a little slideshow, fun-loving, about all of their quirks in the situation. And we were hysterically laughing, and it just went so far towards building the bond for the rest of the project. And it was just like probably an hour and a half of his time of thinking creatively and putting this together. But 25 years later, I remember that because it was just so lighthearted and fun. And
it's
a long way.
I feel the same way. I still remember how it was in the early days. A friend of mine, Patty Dobrovolsky, she does Up Your Creative Genius. I brought her into Bulletproof Coffee because if you know Bulletproof, there's a lot of supplements and there's MCT oil and the coffee with butter, and it's really complicated. And I'm like, I have to have Patty and to play games and just draw out what your job is. So we brought all the people into a conference room, and when you put 20 people in a room that they don't know each other, they've never worked together, and they're like nervous because it's a new job and it's complicated. But after 3 days, they were hanging out together. They were so excited to open the store. It just changed everything. And it was expensive. cab patty. But when you look back, it's like worth every cent to do that.
At the early days of Starbucks, how different was it?
We had a lot more training. We were trained with different people in different areas, being able to describe the coffees and the drinks. And some of it is just hiring people that like people.
Mhm.
Like sometimes you have somebody who's really great at making espresso, but don't put him at the cash because he really feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As a man, I would manage the initial stores. I would manage each one and hire the people. And you have to connect them. And we didn't hire anyone that didn't drink coffee. And I remember one time, I really like this guy so much. And I'm like, you have to be able to drink the coffee and taste if something's wrong, was made wrong or whatever. And so I said, wait, I'm going to make you a mocha. So I make him a mocha because who doesn't like hot chocolate with a shot of espresso? So I made it kind of weak, just put one shot of espresso. And that was it. He loved it. I'm like, okay, you're there. And same thing happened with my brother when I opened my first cafe in Malibu. He didn't drink coffee. I'm like, you have to drink coffee. I don't care. You can't work here.
Right.
2 weeks into it, he was drinking straight espresso. The passion for the customers. And I went to a drive-through. Okay, during the pandemic, right? Starbucks has drive-throughs in Dallas. I was living in Dallas at the moment. And I go to the drive-through. No one was behind me. And I wanted cold brew because the cold brew is really good. I go to the window to get the coffee and I asked the cashier, the barista, how are you doing? How are you guys doing with the pandemic? Are you guys okay? He couldn't even look at me. He couldn't talk. You could tell he's looking at numbers like click, times going by. And I'm like, wow, there's no one behind me. What's the rush? It's not his fault. He doesn't feel comfortable talking to me. He feels stress. You could tell. I just got to get this drink out as fast as possible. It's not an easy fix. Because when someone orders 4 different ways to make my coffee, I want half decaf, half regular, this shot, that shot, and I want it blended with cold foam. Some of the combinations are not even on the menu. People make them up. We created a monster in that way. And it was fun. And everybody could have it their way. Guess what happened? It made it so complicated. Now they're stressed.
What was the intention there and how did it become like the monster that have created today?
We wanted people to feel comfortable. It was like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. Those first Il Giornale stores, there's Merrill Lynch guy with the great ties. He wants a tall latte, no foam. We would have it ready for him. He's walking down the street. We'd have it ready for him when he walked in the door. They love it. Customers, wow. If you see him on the street, I'm like, hi, tall latte, no foam. I don't know your name. I know your drink. They just loved it. And we liked it. They were so happy. We love you guys. And when you go to your hairdresser or whatever, they know everything about you. In a coffee bar, we had time. We knew everything about it. They told us everything. Her new baby, the this, that, we knew it all. And that piece is missing, that village, the feeling of your village. And when I had to go, so I opened the stores in Seattle, right, and in Vancouver. When I went to Chicago, I'm like, I am creating my own village. That's it. I'm doing it exactly my way every time. And this corporate stuff, that's nice. I follow policies, no problem. But I created my own village where, like, at one point, we were at about 10 stores. I'm going crazy, not without a lot of help. So Howard, I'm like, you need to send me help. So he sent me this guy. And I said, we're going to go to one of the stores on Van Buren, and we're going to make coffee during the rush, right next to the Board of Trade. We go to the store, and we run the rush in the morning. 2 of us on one 4-group espresso machine with 2 grinders on each side. In a few hours, we showed them that we could do what we're asking them to do, and we're fast and good. And after that, the whole region, they were calling me. We heard you were at Van Buren making coffee. And I'm like, I told you when I ask you to do this, it's because I know I'm doing it myself.
I love that wisdom of not asking people to do things that you yourself don't know are doable, and like really getting into the trenches.
Clean the toilet. That's what I would say. When you open a store, the first thing you should do is like, I'll clean the toilet. Do the dirtiest job. Howard Schultz used to come in and bust tables. If there was a cup sitting there, he'd bust it himself. And everyone would go, oh, Howard, it's okay. If a cup was on the ground, he'd pick it up. He always paid full price, too. He never took his discount, ever.
Mm.
Yeah. He was a good role model and how to do it. He's a very powerful guy. And he's intimidating at times, and you have to just get past that and be brave enough to tell him what you think. It doesn't mean you'll get what you want, but maybe he's listening. He is listening.
What do you think about Bolder and Wiser? And I'm wondering what made you so brave.
It's in my gene. My father was a CIA hitman. That's in the gene. And I was like Catholic girls' school. I was the one fighting with the nuns, and if somebody was verbally abusive to somebody else, I'm standing up defending them. I was always I was a hippie in the 60s. I didn't burn my bra, but I wanted to, but my mother would have killed me. It's just in my DNA, I guess. When I found coffee, I wasn't even a coffee drinker. When I found coffee, and a friend of mine in the Hollywood Hills ground fresh coffee, I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. I had lived in Seattle before, but I didn't drink coffee. At that moment, I said, I'm moving back to Seattle. I'm going to work for Starbucks. And Howard, and there were no beverage stores at the time. And I went in his office, and he's, do you know anything about retail? No. Do you know anything about, no. I just didn't know it. No. I said, I don't care. I want to work here. I want to be a manager. And he's, okay, go talk to the district manager. There weren't any jobs. There weren't any openings. It was like 4 stores. So I said, that's it. 2 months, I'm going to have a job here. I'm getting Howard and I got along really well. And I was crazy like him a bit. And the energy level was high. And then 2 months later, I got a job at University Village store as an assistant manager. And I'm like, that's not enough. I want to be a manager. So 2 months later, they fired that guy and hired me. So after that, I went from store to store and kind of, Howard would say, just go do your thing. Whatever that is, just do it. I'm like, okay, good. Leave me alone. Give me the tools I need. That's all.
It's a sense of freedom that you want. Rejections are inevitable in life, but it don't seem to bother you at all.
Now, I'll follow. I could be fighting with Howard, but in the end, if I lost that debate, I would follow whatever to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, you're all right. I was heard. You have to be heard, at least. It doesn't mean they have to agree with you.
Right.
But if you're heard, that's enough for me. And then, like, initially, the whole bonus incentive program, I was like the guinea pig. Like the firstborn. They try everything on, I'm the firstborn in my family. They try everything on you. It doesn't work so well, and they change by the time number 2 comes along. Mm. So those bonus never worked for so long. I was the loser. Like, damn. I used to fight for this. This isn't right. It doesn't work, people.
That's a really important topic, right? Bonus programs, compensation structures. What's in the right incentive structure so that people feel that they are fairly compensated and not unequally treated.
You know what the best one was? Dave Asprey, Bulletproof. I said, I want to pay them more than Starbucks pays. I want to pay them the best I can pay them and make a profit. And he goes, okay, do what you want. And I'm like, someone's letting me do what I want. I said, it's not free when they quit all the time. Like a barista often is gone in 3 or 4 months. What did Starbucks used to say? It costs $7,000 every time you lose one. Because now you have to start all over again. It's like, you're better off paying them more. Hardly anyone quit at Bulletproof. Because I paid them more than Starbucks was paying. I paid them more than they could get anywhere else, so they wouldn't quit. And I kept giving them raises all the time. And that store made a fortune. But that's because the staff knew everything and they were happy with each other. And sometimes they tell me, Dawn, you're driving us crazy. I'm like, clean the front door. No prints on the front door when people come in. You keep nagging us. I'm like, I'll never nag you again if you just keep the door. All right. And then that I'll go away. Or I allow them to tell me to shut the fuck up, someone said once. And I started laughing. I'm like, in a normal situation, you get fired. But I said, why don't you think of another way to say it? So you don't make someone mad. I'm not mad. I just think it's hysterical that you felt the freedom to tell me to fuck up. Like,
You're creating the same psychological safety to challenge you that you felt with Howard
yeah,
in doing that.
good. That's a good point. Yeah. I'm very open about why we do what we do. We have a budget. Even in Denmark, when I was opening stores, the baristas would call me at night, Dawn, we put in some of our own money because we wanted to make the budget. And I'm like, it was like 2 kroner or something. It was nothing, but the whole point that they wanted us to look good, us at the team.
Wow.
And or that group, I love them. One day, this guy comes in and he's on a shift. They're all in college. And he goes to the kitchen and starts washing dishes. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not working. I said, oh, you're hungry, right? He goes, yeah. I said, go do this next load of dishes and then I'll feed you lunch. Well, you know when you're doing it right, when the staff bring their friends in. That was really impressive to me. They used to bring their friends in all the time because they were proud of it. They were proud. This is our place. We get to be a customer now.
Mm.
Yes, now you're onto something.
It's a picture of village, right? It's coming together.
Yes. In Europe, you go out and everybody gets drunk. And they do. Like in the UK, when you have a conflict, you go to the pub to solve the problem, have a pint. And I'm like, love it here. This is fun. I'll go. It can't be so stiff and boring. And it can't be like the military. There's discipline, absolutely. Howard's favorite word, discipline. But it doesn't have to be. It's not the military.
What's interesting is hearing you talk reminds me of parenting in a lot of ways. You have to model that behavior. It's not about telling someone to do something.
If you want to be effective, yeah,
exactly. You clean the windows yourself, right? It's you doing it. You're cleaning, where you're making the coffee. You're cleaning the toilet. Doing these things, you're busting the tables. They got to see you do it to feel, okay, it's truly.
Then they ask you, I'm like, what do you guys need? Oh, can you go do this? I'm like, okay.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Just different.
This idea of modeling is so powerful. And I'm also wondering, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's struggling to stand up to an intimidating leader or find their voice as a team?
What I do, I'm very open and honest. So if I see somebody struggling or whatever, then it's almost like you're a therapist in many ways. And you're like, okay, what's going on? This one, I'm intimidated by this or that, or this manager. It wouldn't be the first time they would come to me, and I ended up firing a manager because they were so unhappy with that person. I believe them when they tell me. So I'm very into one-on-one, really being honest. And I'm honest about what I'm struggling with too, because sometimes they want you to do more than you can do.
But we had a guest on the show, Philip. He opened his own restaurants. He talked about running a kitchen and how it's a high-stress environment. In the typical commercial kitchen, you don't share revenue numbers to let people know, how are we doing this month, tonight? It's all about operational efficiency. Now, in a cafe, what transparency do you share with your staff?
That's a good one. This is the first time it made me think about it. Jerry Baldwin was running the company. We were not allowed to see any profit and loss statements, nothing. We knew what we made because it went into the cash register. And then Howard came and changed all of it. Very open. So we learned how to do a budget. Oh, I was the freaked out kid that hated math. And I'm like, I have to do a spreadsheet. And But he was like, how many more cups? Howard himself, how many more cups of coffee can you sell this hour? We're going to build a budget from that. He took the fear out of it. The learning experience was his openness about the numbers. He was from sales. If you don't know what your sales are, if you don't understand how you got there, you're not going to be as successful. When I was running a kitchen at Bulletproof, that first store in Santa Monica, so you have the front of the house and the back of the house, and the back of the house is very different. Even in yelling at each other, it's a very different crowd back there. But I did the same thing. I shared all the numbers. I'm never doing it any other way. And then Denmark again. I remember when they said, Dawn, we want to make more money, but we know you can't pay us more because we're just not doing it so well. Our rent's too high. They knew everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's why I feed you lunch. And I want to spoil you. And little things. We're going to go out and have pizza together. And we're going to go out and have cocktails. Why not? And so they didn't blame me. They knew because I'd explained it. It's different than you get paid a check on Friday, and if you go out and get drunk all weekend, then you're not going to pay the rent on Monday. And I love to take the greenest one that was like me, afraid of the numbers, and train them. Next thing you know, you've got an assistant manager. You move them up to a lead, then an assistant manager, and make them responsible for things. The banking, the spreadsheet, they were easily trained. And some of them are still in the coffee business.
And now that the staff knows the numbers, like we set goals.
I'd hang it on the wall in the back.
Oh.
Go write down sale.
Mhm.
Howard, he was funny. In Chicago, he used to call me. I'm like, Howard, it's 5 o'clock in the morning in Seattle. Why are you calling? What are the numbers? It's Sunday morning, Howard. Go back to bed. I need to know.
Because before everything is online, we can like, check the phone. Here's today's sales.
No, he's like, no, I want to know, get the numbers. Back then, you didn't have all that. Think about it. You didn't have instantaneous, you could see every single thing. No, didn't exist. Think of how hard it was for us back then. We created something. I do it exactly the same way.
How do you set goals then with your staff? Do you say, hey, this is a number last month?
Well, I talk them through it. If anyone's interested, let's talk about a budget. How are we going to do it? And we work it together. And then once we come up with it, then I lay it out. Okay, today, this is what we did last year, and this is what we need to do this year. And we're going to beat this, and we're going to show them how to do it. It's like sports, really.
Mhm.
I don't even like sports that much. The one I like is basketball because it's fast. Kind of like baristas back there, really. And if you put them in the right positions, the position that they thrive in, then they will make the goal. But you have to know them really well and watch them and listen to them. If they say, I hate this job, don't put them in that position. Find another position.
I'm hearing value, Dawn, of like really understanding your talent and bringing out the best in them by putting them in the right spot. I'm curious of your philosophy on performance management because there is this trend now, and I see it a lot in the tech industry of fire faster, where it's really about, okay, we think we're just going to cut the bottom however many % every year, and that's going to make us better, versus looking at your team and saying, I believe in the inherent talent of the people I hire, and I'm going to find the right spot for them and really invest. How do you think about performance management and finding the right spot for someone versus letting them go?
I'm not into letting them go because I think if you're loyal to them, you want them to be loyal to you. It goes both ways. There was a Hispanic guy in the kitchen washing dishes at Bulletproof, and the store manager said, I think we should bring him to the front. He could do it. And I'm like, he could? He hardly spoke English, and he didn't want to do it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm afraid. I'm like, no, it's not your choice. You're doing it. I'm going to change your life, buddy. You're going to make coffee first. So little by little, he ended up being an assistant manager about a year later. The last time I saw him, I said, I told you your life would change.
What did you see in him that makes you feel like, hey, you can?
he just was so dedicated to washing dishes. And I'm like, you got to take people that maybe that walked across the desert to get here. Why can't you take them and give them a foundation? And I remembered another one, Probica. There were all Hispanics in the back. And I knew those visas were probably not legal. I don't have evidence one way or the other. But if somebody called in sick, I'd go in, who's this? This is my cousin. He's doing it. And I'm like, I shouldn't really hire him. They said, just don't pay attention, Don. I'm like, okay. But this is how it was. They would cover you. And they didn't want to let me down. They wanted somebody. We wanted to fill that void. I'm like, that's fine with me. Do it. And it's just different.
Do you feel that dedication to you? Like they don't want to let you down. I can imagine when you have one store, two stores, you're spending time with them, hanging out with them. When we have so many other stores, how do you make your presence
Well,
felt?
a district manager would have
Mm,
10 to 12 stores at Starbucks, depending on if they were new or not. Even with a large group, though, I just go to the store. I walk around. The first thing I do is get behind the bar. Hi, you guys. What are you doing? What are you doing, Don? I'm like, oh, I need to make a coffee. I'm stressed. Let me make coffee for a while. I'd make some coffee for some customers. And I would like,
your happy place behind
yeah.
the door.
But it's just how you treat people. Come on.
So do you then
If you
rotate?
treat people well, you get it back.
How do you like rotate through stores? You're like, oh, today I'm gonna be this and that, and do you just show up unannounced, or do you say, hey, today I'm gonna be here? Do you tell them?
No, I come unannounced because I want to see what's going on. Sometimes you have to deliver the bad news, like this store doesn't look good, you got.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to escalate it to a level like this isn't working.
Yeah.
But you have to understand what are their stresses. It's amazing, people crying in the back room because they had some trouble at home or whatever. You're like a therapist, I'm telling you.
Dawn, you
But
talk about the numbers. And one thing I see in terms of corporate leadership is that really focusing on the numbers, often the 80-20 rule prevails, where 80% of your performance is going to be tied to 20% of those stores. And I see leaders make decisions to focus on just the things that are going to drive their performance in some cases and decide, okay, I have a staff of 100 people. This number of people is working on things that aren't going to be the things I'm going to get fired for or promoted for. So I'll just push my meetings out with them and not see them for 6 months. How have you thought about prioritizing your time in this scaled environment? And where do you draw the lines between seeing those people crying in the back of the store that might not be driving that 20% of profit that's so important to your goals?
I still think you have to make it feel small. So district managers, that's why they have 10 to 12 stores, so they can keep it small, so they can see every store in a week, generally. And then if they're too busy, then it's every other week. When you have a group of store managers, now you're having monthly meetings. You're on the phone a lot, really. Some people don't need you. They're perfectly fine running their store. They have very little issues. They're just driving because they know how to do it.
And what would you say to a leader who says, I don't have time to pay attention to some of these team members that aren't going to make?
I'd have this exact conversation. If you do it like this, you're going to find out very quickly that you're not going to have support from. They're the ones that are making you look good. Not about you as a store manager. Not about me as a regional or district manager. No, it's about them. They're the ones that have to make one sale at a time, fast, smile at a customer, even though they don't feel good, and not about you. That's the problem. You get some managers think it's all about them. Now, those are the ones that I end up having to let go. But the way I do it, if something happens and I have to let them go, they know why. Because I don't just do it. Like they have to, there's progressive discipline, really. I hate when it's all managed so perfectly. Some of it is you just have to use your instinct and work with people like they're people that you know well.
You had your own coffee shop, you did consulting for others, and now you're opening your own coffee shop again. What are your philosophies now?
When I lived in Paris, the coffee tasted horrible, absolutely horrible.
You made
I was
notes.
trying to open a salon cafe. I'm like, oh God, now look. I work for Columbus Cafes and I'm like, okay, this is good. I can get the coffee where I want it to be. And then the pastry side of it, things weren't as sweet. Everything tasted better. They were using more butter, great butter. They were using just better quality ingredients. So now what am I doing?
Mhm.
Everything has to be the best of ingredients. So it's like the fine dining of a coffee bar. I am not compromising. I use these syrups that no one uses called Sonoma syrup. And women started by women. This woman was a lawyer. And her vanilla, it's a blend of Madagascar and Tahitian vanilla. I put it on as perfume. It smells so good. And when I met her husband and told him that, he said, my wife does the same thing. I'm like, it's perfume, I'm telling you. It's the best in a cookie I've ever tasted. When I was in Dallas, they were like, oh, this is so expensive, the cost of goods. I said, you use half as much. And I don't care affecting cost of goods. I'll make the money anyway because I'm going to have the best one, period. So I have Nancy Silverton, the famous chef from La Brea Bakery, her new cookbook. I have to have this oatmeal cookie, this with brown butter. So it's like Kerrygold butter, grass-fed. No, everything has to be top, the best. I'm not compromising in any way. The menu will be scaled down, coffee definitely, but it's going to be the best in class, period. And the best part about this cafe is in the back is the roaster that I've been using to roast my coffee for years, called Muckle Teal Coffee Roasters. They're fantastic people. They've been in coffee almost as long as I have. And they made a private blend for me. And one of the guys who roasts coffee there worked for Starbucks for years. Everything has to be really quality. And I don't care if it costs more. I'll make less or I'll charge 5 cents more. Big deal. I don't care.
So
Oh, you know what else I'm doing? Don't tell anyone. I guess it's too late if I say. When I lived in Europe, the milk tastes so much better. It's just richer. When I came back to the States, there was a guy who had useless bay coffee in Langley, Washington on this island. And he made my cappuccino. I'm like, what did you do to the milk? We put a splash of half and half in it. I'm like, what? It was so, I said, it tastes like Europe. Because the milk's different.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, the milk is different. Why? My sister knew. It's A2 protein.
Wait,
Oh,
what is H2 protein?
there's A1 and
No.
A2 protein is, it yields less, slower, and the milk is just richer.
Mm.
And it's just incredible. But what is the biggest thing? It's really good for the gut. It doesn't cause the gut inflammation that A1 does. So in the US, of course, we're using the one that yields faster and more. I learned some of this too from Dave Asprey, like he uses the grass-fed Kerrygold butter. That's what I had to use in Bulletproof. I had to use better butter and better everything. I thought, why isn't anyone doing A2 milk? It costs more money. I don't care. If it costs more money, maybe I'll make a little less, or maybe I'll sell more and make the same amount. No. So all that has to be the A2 milk, since we're really in the milk business, if you think about it. We sell more milk than we do coffee. There's little shots of espresso. That's just
Yeah.
part of it.
What about water quality or ice?
Oh, water is very a big deal, of course. You should see the filters we have to use. Well, I test the water. Every store I open, I send in a little vial of the water, and then I have the experts tell me what filter I need to get the quality, because part of it is for the machine. I only use La Marzocco espresso machines. They're the ones that are the third wave. Now I guess it's fifth wave coffee, whatever that is. Filtration is big.
Yeah.
So for me, everything has to be organic. It has to be high quality. I want it to be like Europe is a big deal, and there's not as much sugar.
It's fascinating. By the way, water, because I have a water brand. So I actually sell water to coffee shops around here because they specifically ask for a certain composition to say this is in a certain TDS and so on. And
The TDS is very important. Total dissolved solids is very important.
it's very
But you
important.
can mess up your machine.
100%. But not every coffee shop, I realize as I talk to more people here, actually pay that much attention. And therefore, the quality of the coffee is not as good.
98% water.
Mhm. Consistency of the ice that you put inside has to be from
It has to be the same filtered water. It
yes.
can't be this little, because ice machines come with this little teeny filter. No, it has to be the same quality.
Yeah.
Anything that touches the coffee has to be the same water.
Dawn, you mentioned something called spinning.
Oh,
Previous conversations.
yes, I like spin the outcome.
Yeah.
I like have a little vision about how I want things to be. When I went to work for Starbucks, after there wasn't a position, and I told everyone I knew, I'm going to be a manager of a store here. I don't care if they say there's no position at the moment. 2 months later, I got the job. And then I said that wasn't enough. It was assistant manager. It wasn't a manager. I need to be a manager. The one thing, too, that I've learned from that is to make sure that you say yes more than you say no, especially in the beginning of your career. I always raise my hand. You want to move to Chicago? Yes, I'll go. Oh God, where am I going now? And I lived to so many different places, but it really honed everything. You know, when you're working in a foreign country, this was so fun. When I went to France, the guy says he's married to an American. And he's like, how are you going to sell coffee here or train people? You don't even speak French. I'm like, can I go behind the bar? So I went behind the bar and made little 4-ounce mochas, put them on a tray and went out. Bonjour, madame, tempeh mocha. They pick it up, take a sip, come back in and buy one. I said, get me a translator. This is the least of your problems.
Mhm.
And he was like, what? I love you, Americans. What? Make it happen. We did stuff like that. Was a big deal. Raise your hand if you want to move up. Don't
And
just sit there and be quiet.
and when you do a spinning piece, do you usually have a vision?
I opened my store in Malibu, and this guy approached me to open stores in Europe, and there weren't any. Starbucks wasn't there yet, and I had my store in Malibu. I ended up selling the store and moving to Paris, and he was raising money to open like a Starbucks in Europe. Seattle Coffee Company was in London, but nothing else was happening. There were coffee, but it wasn't the greatest. And so this guy was raising money with my CV, but he was spending it as fast as he got it. Talk about a lesson. Because I was like innocent. What did I know about raising money? I learned a lot from him. How to pitch it, what to sit at the meetings, this and that. I'd help close the deal, like just telling stories. People would write these checks, but he was spending all the money. And I lost a lot of money on that deal, and some of my friends too. Darn it. But I learned how to raise money. I learned how to deal with different cultures.
You mentioned doing culture, but also like telling stories, and they were writing checks. Expand on that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
Well, these are Europeans, and they're fascinated by Americans anyway, to begin with. These are big money guys. They saw the success of Starbucks, and they all wanted this success. How did you do it? So I would just tell stories, how we did it, how this and that, my philosophy on it, and the margins with coffee, and they realized that I was lucky. I was there at the very beginning when we didn't have all these levels to design stores. I was in every single meeting. Howard built me a store in the basement of Starbucks because I kept complaining of how they were built. We're running into that corner. That doesn't work. It's that I'm building you a store in the basement. Bring everybody you want. We're going to get this right one way or the other. And those kind of things happen. But raising money In Europe, it was fun because it was so hard. This guy taught me how to, what is that guy's shirt? Where's that? Who is that guy? I'm like, Italian. What about those shoes? Spanish. Look, you have to learn how to sit with these guys and not be too American. Don't be over the top crazy like I am. I have to calm down, talk about the business. They don't want to really talk about money. They can talk about sex. Oh, yes. They can talk about sex and politics. But the money, you have to be careful how you do it. Okay. So he taught me how to negotiate through all these different cultures and how they think.
Mm.
And then I input my little American way, and they were just like, what? And they liked it. But this guy was a complete fraud. I had the SEC involved with him because he was raising money, using my name.
Sounds like you learned a lot through the process about fundraising. I'm wondering what you learned about reading people and like how you would spot a fraudster in this.
This is hard because what I learned from this guy, the fraudster, is that Europeans don't let you in so easily. A French friend of mine said, you Americans, you let people in right away. We take our time, then we let you in. And when you're in forever, you Americans, you're in and you're out. Like your friends today and gone tomorrow. Well, that's so true. Oh my God. I never thought about it. That was a good one to learn. I remember this crazy millionaire. He was like going to write us a check for $7 million. And I'm like, oh my God, $7 million. But I'm like, he doesn't like me. I couldn't read him, nothing. Then all of a sudden, he just was Mr. Nice Guy, and that was the end. I'm like, oh, that's it. It just turned on a dime. For whatever reason, they decided, okay, she's okay. Now you're in for life. I like that.
Does that change that experience spending time in Europe? I grew up in Asia, in Taiwan. So while I'm here, I am still in both worlds. There's a piece of me that came from that. And the way we work, right? Like you say, the way we make friends, right? The way we negotiate, we don't talk about how we connect, how we build that bridge. So now you come back to America, right? Do you bring some of that? How does it affect you or change the way you deal with Americans here?
I learned the most from the French. They'd always get mad at me because I work too much. And I was like, you're right. Or you're like, you're eating too quickly. You got to leave. This is drink wine at lunch. Come on. You're not going to get fired. And it's a 2-hour lunch. So they taught me to calm down.
Mhm.
I'm not that calm still, but I could have a 2-hour lunch. When I got back here, my sister and I went out to dinner and I said, we're not leaving in an hour. We're going to sit here for 2 hours. So you might as well just relax. This is not happening anymore.
Mhm.
So I learned from them to take our time, to take a vacation. Why do you always talk about work? Where'd you go on vacation? Where are the pictures? They're always concerned about where they're going on vacation, on holiday somewhere. I'm like, you're right. You got to balance because we don't.
Yes.
We just keep working more and you start hitting a wall. When I was opening 25 stores in a year and 2 years by yourself pretty much is not easy. And these remote areas, you have to learn who are customers. Everything's different. You have to learn how to calm down because you're just too stressed. It's ridiculous. My assistant would go shopping, Dawn. I'll take care of the phone. In Chicago, she figured it out. And I'm like, I'll go walk around the park and go shopping. Okay. We'll help each other by trying to balance out this work-life business.
That's great.
Yeah. It's not easy because it depends on who you work for. When they're demanding, Howard demanding. But he left at 5 o'clock. He wasn't there.
Demanding during the hours off, is that what you mean? Versus demanding you work long hours?
That you're available every moment of the day. In my position as a regional director, he'd call me Sunday morning, like, hello, get over yourself. But he was funny. So you go like, all right, I'll get you the numbers.
Right.
That it's that work-life balance I learned from the Europeans. So I keep that one. I'm not working every day. No, I'm going to make sure I can. No, if I make less money, okay. Is it going to kill me?
It's interesting because Michelle and I have worked at a lot of American companies, and they are a company that says work-life balance is really important. Some preach it, but don't really live it.
That'd be
There's another cohort that just says work-life balance is a mirage. You have to pick what is most important to you. And
it. It's a mirage. It could be a mirage. You don't have to make it. It's up to you.
But since as individuals, we have to choose for ourselves. Michelle and I are both parents in this case. Dawn, do you have kids yourself?
No, 2 cats.
2 kids.
I'm the mother of 2.
The other one is hidden. When I started having kids, I really feel it's not about balance per se, but there's clearly boundaries. There's overlap and there's boundaries. And sometimes you actually, beyond boundary, there's like a DMZ zone. There's a zone in between.
DMZ zone.
Like, I need way more space, not just like a line. And I think we feel that. It's just a side comment, but I feel that's really important for us to choose for ourselves.
You don't always get you know what happens with someone single, divorced, no kids? They use you more. You don't have kids.
I was going to say, regardless of whether you have children or not, there's a rich life and creativity that's born from space and rest that is often very undervalued. And I see it now with people that I coach or folks that I had work with, where you can really just bring more creative problem solving to work if you have that kind of DMC or what have you. With parenting, it impacts not just your work, but actually your parenting. If you don't,
if you're really stressed out because of work, somebody is going to get that result.
Someone who's going to be like in the dating world or has a partner or has friends, like those relationships are impacted by a lack of rest.
But is it going the other way now? Because in some cases, I think, God, the generation is like a bunch of babies in ways. I don't know. We do it. It's hard. And I'm like, oh my God, get over yourself. The generation where everybody wins and there's no losers. And
I guess that leads me to maybe getting your final thoughts on what advice do you have for folks that are coming up on what to you makes a professional and personal life of meaning?
Jerry Seinfeld just did his commencement speech, said something about don't necessarily pick what you want to do right now. Look around. Make sure you're having fun. This is a big deal. Fun will get you a long way in anything. Don't just settle because of the money. Now, I know that's easy for me to say. I'm single. I just have a cat. When you have kids and a wife and you have responsibilities, then often you're taking something that just pays you enough to pay the mortgage. But if you make sure you're doing something you really like to do, and don't make quick decisions just out of college. Look around. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was stressed about it. Like, I need a career. I was divorced. What am I going to do? I have to get off on something. And then coffee, just a light went on, and I'm like, oh, I could get behind this forever. What happened?
The concept of fun or the value of fun is like a theme here that enriches you. Actually, the fun being a parent is experiencing a whole different perspective through our kids' eyes, right? The way they see things, the way they ask questions. I have 3 kids, and they always show me things. I want to be more like them because I see that nugget that I have lost over time. And that value of fun is an antithesis to productivity. A lot of times we say fun is not productive. No, actually, there's a reciprocal relationship between the two.
Totally.
Right?
What did I just pull? I want to put on the wall in the cafe that I'm opening, the quote from Julia Child, learn how to cook, try new recipes, learn from your mistakes, be fearless, and above all, have fun.
Love that quote.
I'm going to put that on the wall.
I like that. Reminder.
Wow.
I want to ask a fun one. When you wake up in the morning and you reach for your coffee, what's in that cup?
An Americano, 2 shots of espresso, down a La Marzocco espresso machine. No milk, no Oatly, none of this business. Wow. I want to taste the coffee. Lately, because of this, my wall is full of Post-its at the moment. I feel like I'm doing a film. I don't think normal. I have to go all over the board. It's probably 8, but I hang up all these Post-its of things that I like. And then I go in and edit. And then when I'm really stressed, I go and bake. I created a line of giant madeleines that I was selling for a while. Grande madeleines, I'm calling them. When I'm bored or stressed, I'll go bake. It's so calming. And then I create things like this. A coffee rimmer.
What is a coffee
With
rimmer?
raw sugar, Saigon cinnamon, a little orange. Just like a rimmer for a margarita, but it's for your coffee cup. Or
Dip it
a
in.
line of spices
Oh,
I have
for
tried.
your coffee.
Ouch.
That's what developed during the pandemic. I was bored. Trying to develop stuff. Oh, and don't forget, hot chocolate with spices from La Boite in New York. Very famous master of spices. Works with Eric Repair, sources spices from all over the world. So I like to develop lines of things. And I develop them, but then I don't have time to sell them. So I
Love
have to open a store, then I can sell them. And Michelle knows.
Yes, I have them in my house and I've purchased them as gifts. And yes, I'm a fan. And
It's fun. It's fun. It's something different.
yes. Dawn, how long do we have to wait for your Whidbey Island coffee farm?
I'm hoping September. Fingers crossed. September. It's beautiful. There's like a glass barn and it's in the woods, down this road in the woods. And there's a little airstrip where Bill Gates has been known to fly in, come in and have coffee in there in the past. But now they've remodeled and since I've known them for years, I'm like, they're letting me rent it. Yay.
what is your dream? When you open this one, what is your vision for this place?
I used to come back from Europe for a year. Something was finished and then I'd come back and I was bored. And I had a client on Whidbey Island. For a year, I was out there. It's about a half hour outside of Seattle. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. It's an island. But I really liked it. Everyone knew you. I walk in the grocery store. Are you the one who makes the salted caramel lattes? I'm like, do they know this? Everyone knew everything about me. And I just really liked them. It was so calm out there. And then when I need my city fix, I'd get on the ferry, 20 minutes, and then drive a half an hour, and there I am in Seattle. And the people were so nice. When this came up, I'm like, I think I should do this. This would be good. I need to have a cafe again. And this will be pretty big with a lot of food. The mochas will be Calabo or Valrhona chocolate. So I use everything the pastry chefs use. Really high quality everything. So you take a sip and you're like, what? What is this? I'm like, yeah, it's mocha, but better ingredient.
Mocha Prime.
Dawn, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. This has been fun.
Where can folks who are interested in all of the things that you're doing follow you and your shop?
I'm horrible at social media, but I do have a website, Dawn Pinaud. .coffee, not .com, .coffee. I do sell wholesale products on fair.com,
Yeah.
the wholesale website. And once in a while, I look at Instagram.